Here are 3 NFL draft prospects that are moving up the board after what they've done in the last couple weeks at the college football ranks. Doug, I was really impressed with a couple of really versatile defensive backs when I was watching college football, really this weekend, but it goes back a couple weeks. I want to start with Jadon Canady from Oregon. This is a guy, again, these guys are versatile, but they're 2 very, very different players that we're going to talk about today. So Canady is kind of the undersized modern nickel where you can keep him single high, you can keep him as a 2 high safety, or you can bring him down into the slot. He can cover in man, he can cover in zone. But what I really like is between the ears with Jadon Canady is he seems to have a really great understanding of what's happening in front of him, what's happening around him, great ball skills, great instincts to know when and where the ball is going to go. And he's doing it against really, really good competition. So 2 weeks ago against USC, he's lined up man-to-man in the slot against Mekhi Lemon, who's one of my favorite wide receivers in this class, a first-round guy for me. He super sticky in coverage, sticks with Lemon. I don't think it was a great decision to throw the ball because the coverage was really good. He ends up making the interception for the Ducks. This past week, he's back as a 2 high safety, and he's over the top of Denzel Boston, who is another one of my favorite wide receivers in this class, and another first-round guy. Very different body type, by the way. Mekhi Lemon is a smaller, shorter guy. Denzel Boston, 6'4", 200+. So they're trying to throw a kind of a fade ball into the end zone to Boston, which is kind of his bread and butter as a red zone guy. And Canady just reads it the whole way, baits the quarterback into the throw, makes a leaping interception at the right moment. He had another play later in that game where he was trying to cover a crosser, and he was beat on the play. Canady was. It was a deep crosser all the way across the field to the opposite sideline. But he has the recovery speed. He recovered all the way, never had to turn back for the ball. And we always hear coaches talking about this, corners talking about this. If you can't get your head turned around, you have to play the eyes, play the hands of the receiver. Yes. He did it perfectly, perfect timing to knock the ball away. It was like a 2nd and long, and it would have been a first down. He made a great play. I know, again, I put him on the list. What did you see? What have you seen from Jadon Canady and projecting him to the next level? How does that skill set fit with what modern NFL defenses are asking of these nickel safety type guys?
Yeah, you have to be versatile. He's an interesting cat. He's listed at 5'11", 185. And I'm not doubting that, but I can't wait to see his wingspan because he has the wingspan of a guy like 6'2". It's funny how, like, Russell Wilson's arms were always longer than you'd expect from a 5'10" guy. And this allows him to use his frame to block out receivers and deflect passes as you wouldn't really expect from a guy his size. He can get in there with the SWAT, and a lot of guys his size can't. He can. When he's on, he's a shutdown guy. 15 catches allowed on 33 targets for 89 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 4 pass breakups, an opponent pass rating of 37.3. He's great in press coverage because he'll just envelop his receiver. He'll work very well through the route, as you mentioned. He can mirror you through your route, which is a skill that I think to a point it can be developed. You either have that or you don't, that whole Velcro thing. He can play overhang and come down to prevent catches. Where I struggle a bit with his NFL potential is that there's a lot of wasted movement in his steps. He can be frantic at times. I'd like to see him work through those routes with fewer moving parts. Against Washington, he had the one catch where he was pressed on receiver Omari Evans, but as Evans ran his route through the seam to the boundary, Canady got in over his skis and fell down. He also allowed a 9-yard catch to Raiden Vines-Bright because he got caught up in a 2-man route combo and lost his direction. So I do think there's a lot to like about his game. I could see him getting eaten alive to start in the NFL by the savvier receivers, the ones who can change direction seamlessly. I think economy of motion should be the main thing he's working on pre-draft. And if he gets that together, boy, he's got just incredible potential. I'm not damning the guy. I'm just saying this really stood out to me as something, just get those motions a little more under control.
Now, the other DB I wanted to talk about is kind of the complete opposite in terms of body type and the role that he plays. Normally, when you see a safety listed at 6 foot, 220 plus, you're thinking you're in the box. You might just be a linebacker at this point in the modern NFL. But AJ Haulcy from LSU is not that guy. He is a guy that brings legit coverage chops in that type of frame, which is just something you really don't see a lot. We saw it again this past week. Again, had a big interception. So he's clearly somebody who can do a lot. Again, modern NFL defenses, the ability to mix and match your safeties, to roll them down or to keep them up pre and post snap is so vital to so many of the best defenses, the best defensive coordinators in the league. When you look at Haulcy's tape, is that what you see? A guy who isn't going to give anything away by his alignment, and whether you want him to be man coverage single high, or whether you need him to come down in the box and mix it up and be physical? Is he somebody that can do all those things?
Yeah, I have to start with this, though. I tend to be a fan of defense because I believe it's slightly more difficult to be a true shutdown corner than it is to be a stellar pass rusher. LSU cornerback Mansour Delane might wind up as my favorite player in this entire draft class.
He's
because
so
that guy
good,
is
man.
utterly
Easily
and
cornerback one in this class, man.
I haven't done my full study yet, but I have not seen a college player from this upcoming class that I like more. Just like, wow.
He's a stud,
him.
man. Yeah, he's this is what happens, guys. We start watching tape and we're trying to watch one guy, and somebody else says, no, sorry, I'm stealing the show here. You're going to watch me today. That's Mansour Delane.
Yeah, he is. So Haulcy, 6'0", 222. He looks like a linebacker out there, but get this. He's played 83% of his snaps in the deep third this season. 6% in the box.
So fluid, man.
6% in the box at that size. So nobody sees him as just a box guy. As a pass defender, he can trail receivers through their routes, but he's at his best. And I love the bigger overhang guys. You can think of a Jalen Ramsey. You can think of a Budda Baker. When he's operating from the top down, he can see everything in front of him. That's where he will jump routes all day, ceaselessly. It's so good. He will time deflections with his physicality. This is not a guy you want to run a slant route against. You can do that whole Wes Welker, Cam Chancellor thing in Super Bowl, in that one. Yeah. 48. His 3 interceptions this season have all come from the deep third. All have been of the route jumping variety. We're here to sit back and wait and then close quickly to the ball. He kept improving in his coverage through his time at New Mexico and Houston, but he's really put it together this year. 24 catches allowed on 39 targets, 269 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 4 pass breakups, and an opponent pass rating of 58.6. He can fill run fits and create pressure on blitzes. They don't use him in that way a lot, but I could see him do more of that in the NFL. But you really want him in coverage. I mean, you would want to deploy him as you would deploy a 5'11", 195-pound safety. And any team that wants one guy in that overhang role that plays a lot of big nickel would love to have him as a developmental piece in that defense. And if you're thinking a guy this size could be a Kyle Hamilton, Nick Emenwari, like a do-it-all guy, I think that's also a possibility. It's just you have to project beyond what you've seen in college, because that would be way beyond what LSU wanted him to do. He's fascinating in that you do not see guys this big playing this much deep third this credibly. That's where he really stood out to me.
The other guy that stood out to me this week that I wanted to highlight is a guy where matchups always matter, right? When I'm trying to look, even when like at the beginning of the season, I'm looking through the whole college football slate. I'm like, where are my top, wide receiver versus corner matchups? Where are my top tackle versus edge rusher matchups? And one of the ones I was really excited to see this past week was I wanted to see what Trevor Goosby, the left tackle for Texas, did against Cashius Howell, one of my favorite edge rushers in this draft from Texas A&M. And Goosby went out there and erased him from this game for the most part. I mean, there's a guy in Howell who, if you go back to that Utah State game, sacks on first, second, and third down of the same drive to completely erase the drive. And you and I have talked about that particular sequence, right, where he won with speed, he won with power, he won with this hand move, he won with this hand move, inside, outside. Like he put on a 3-snap clinic for all NFL scouts to be like, this is what I can do for you in 3 snaps. I can end a drive and I can do it every way you want me to do. So that's why, again,
you don't need to spend 5 days. Yeah, you don't need to spend 5 days watching my tape NFL teams. Just watch these replays.
No, 30 seconds and you're good. So when you can go out and eliminate that type of guy who's proven he can be a game-wrecking kind of guy, and you can erase him from the face of the earth in a game that your team came up with a huge upset win. So clearly it had a massive impact on the game. Goosby, I think he's 6'7", 312 is what I saw on the listing. So he's actually got some room to add some bulk. But this is a guy who, if you see him get out on the move, he's pretty nimble for a bigger guy. I know there's a lot to clean up technically, but I really liked what I saw in this matchup in particular, and those are the matchups that are really going to stand out to NFL scouts. What did you see on the tape?
Yeah, 6'7", 312, and it's interesting. His lower body, it's like an Orlando Brown. He looks like a 330-pound guy from the waist down, and from the waist up, it's like you need to put on some muscle. Right. He's got a wide lower body, but he's got the power and technique for the most part. As a pass blocker, gets into his set quickly at the snap, so he's not making up for a slow set by overextending through the arc, and that's where you get into trouble, because you're reaching, and then someone can just use speed and power to get past you. He's got a pretty good head for blitzes and stunts as they happen, but that's going to need some work. He tends to let people get by him. He's best when someone's just right in front of him. You mentioned his matchups against Cashius Howell. The one play where Howell got the better of him, Goosby couldn't quite handle Howell's inside spin move. I would say there are NFL tackles who could not handle that spin move either, so I'm not going to kill him for that one. I would have liked to see Goosby maybe attack Howell there, but he may have been faked out, but what looked like a bull rush before Howell changed his plan. Again, when you get from a bull look to an inside spin, at a certain point, you just got to tip your hat.
Yeah, if somebody can execute that jump effectively, there's not a lot of guys that are going to do much
It's
about
like when Myles Garrett had that 1.5-yard Euro step to cross Trent Williams' face, and both of those guys were going to the Hall of Fame. Williams is just like, okay, next. I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, Goosby's good with what's in front of him. 4 sacks allowed, 18 total pressures, 446 pass blocking reps this season. That needs to be taken into context. He is still learning under fire. He had just 211 snaps at left tackle in 23 and 24. So he's still putting it together. When he has his lower body underneath him, he can be a formidable run blocker as well. He is good on the move, as you said. Technical fixes to be made there. That takes time in the NFL. I could see a mid-second round grade based on the potential. 3rd round at the worst. I don't know what will he be a senior next year?
I believe so. I think he's a true junior.
I mean, were I him, I would come back for a year. But I would give him a 2nd round grade, 3rd round grade at the worst right now. This is the guy I would like to see come back for another year just to get that seasoning, because you could see the improvement and the things that he needs to work on, you can work on in college and really get ready for the draft, and next year maybe be a 1st round pick.
What do you think of these players? Who are the draft prospects who have stood out to you this year? Who are the guys that we should be talking about more as we look ahead to next April? Let us know in the comments.